Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Hopefully you guys are feeling good. Hopefully you guys are on some sort of vacation, or if you're hunting the rut, it's always a good time of year to be out. I just got back from a morning sit about 20 minutes ago, and I kind of want to touch on this topic a little bit more because a lot of questions have been coming in on YouTube, and that's nocturnal deer. And this video is about nocturnal deer over corn piles, because a lot of folks, like to bait deer, and that's perfectly fine. I'm all for it as long as it's legal. But they want to, a lot of hunters, most hunters, whatever, like to just go to your local store and they buy a 50-pound bag of corn and they dump that in front of their tree stand or hang a stand over it, and they hunt it. They hunt directly over that corn pile. And just some tips on that and why deer could be possibly nocturnal over that corn pile. They're hitting it at night before you get there in the morning, or after you leave in the afternoon. And I believe there's a couple reasons behind that. One is dumping a pile of corn on the ground is what a lot of hunters do, and deer are conditioned to that. They're used to that. So when they're walking through the woods and they see this giant mound of yellow stuff on the ground, they know that when they get around that corn pile, there's usually something bad that happens. Now, obviously, they don't know what that is. They just know that they hear noises, they see things in the tree, and they watch their buddies die over top that corn pile. So when they do that, and we're hunting over that stand, and we're up there, we're fiddling around. You got arrows bouncing, you're shaking. If you have a tree stand that's squeaking or creaking or something, the deer hear that and they put two and two together and they associate that corn pile with danger. So that quickly turns them nocturnal, and they'll hit that corn pile in the middle of the night when nobody's in the woods. So they are conditioned to that. They can pattern human interference. They can pattern hunters. They know majority of the time that we're not in the woods in the dark, we're in the woods in the daylight, and they put two and two together and they know that. So a tip, instead of dumping it in a pile, because if you pay attention, usually if you dump that corn in a pile and the deer walk into it, they're single stepping into that corn pile. Their head's straight out, they're looking around, and they're just very, very cautious around that, as reasons I mentioned a minute ago. So instead of dumping that in a pile, just take the bag of corn, just reach in there with handfuls and just sling it. Just sling that all over the place. 20 yards that way, 30 yards this way, 20 yards this way, 20 yards that way. Just sling it out. And that does two things. One, I just wrote a blog about this on my website, but it does two things. One, it makes the corn last a lot longer, because the deer have to actually look for it. They have to browse for it and root around. When you throw it, the corn's falling under the leaves. So it's just like deer, browsing through the woods trying to find acorns. The acorns fall, then leaves fall, and the acorns are underneath the leaves. So the deer actually have to dig for them a little bit. They have to use their nose to push the leaves out of the way to get down in there. So that makes that corn last a lot longer. Two, it's not a red flag a lot of times. Yeah, obviously, if you're hunting over it, putting pressure on it, then yeah, the deer are going to be nocturnal over it. But to make them feel a little bit more safe, spread it out. It's not in a huge pile. It's a little bit more natural to them. So that is a tip for that side of things. So another couple tips for why deer could be possibly nocturnal over corn piles and make them a little bit better is, I haven't used corn. I don't use corn. I used to all the time, and I've done all this. I've been through this whole process. I've used corn every single possible way you can think of. But when I used to do this is some of the things that I've done. Another thing to do is to hunt that corn pile at different times, because like I said, majority of hunters are doing the same thing. So if you want to have success, do something different. So majority of times, hunters are hunting over that corn pile in the morning hours and the afternoon hours. And a lot of times trail camera pictures will show you that a lot of times the deer are hitting that corn pile in midday. So instead of hunting those morning and afternoon hours, go in there at 9 o'clock. Go in there 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and hunt till 2, hunt till 3, or go in at 5 o'clock in the morning and hunt all the way till the afternoon. But just mix it up, keep the deer guessing, because like I said, deer can become conditioned and pattern hunters. It honestly, it really does happen. So that's another tip for you guys. Obviously, you guys can't be pressuring the corn piles, because like I said, the deer will become conditioned to that. So usually, just like when you're shooting a bow, majority of times your first shot, when you're target practicing, your first shot's your best shot. Majority of times, at least for me anyway. Maybe your first or second shot might be the best. Same thing when you're hunting a tree stand. Usually your first, second, third time hunting that tree stand is the best shots. After that, if there's deer around, you're spooking deer, they're gone. They're quickly nocturnal, and I know that's a lot of times that's what hunters have to do, is we only have that one day. We only have that Saturday to hunt. We only have that Sunday to hunt. We can't hunt Sundays here, but majority of states you can. So, I hope they change that one day. But hunt, if you have, say you have 20 acres of land and you're putting corn piles out, put several corn piles out. Move that stand 75 yards, 100 yards. Just have different stand locations, different piles, different bait sites. That way you're not constantly hunting the same tree stand over and over and over.